Hello friends, my name is Rissa and welcome to my channel. I'm here to talk about paranormal romances. It is October, it's the perfect time and season to dive deep into some paranormal romances, and so I have quite a few good ones to talk about and to recommend, some of which I've read myself. Others are currently on my October TBR that I do plan on reading this October. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The very first book that I want to talk about that I have read and loved is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This is the perfect haunted house story. It's about an influencer whose mother has passed and a strange relationship with her mother, and so she ends up going back to her hometown for the funeral and finds out that she has inherited her late mother's house, and the house is known to be haunted, and that was part of the reason why her and her mother were so estranged, was because of everyone thinking that her mother was crazy for thinking that her house was like haunted and possessed. And so she inherits this home, and her plan is to renovate the home in order to sell it. And her sisters and father are totally against this idea because of all the trauma that surrounds their childhood and the childhood home. And there is a little bit of a romance with a friendly neighbor who is a nurse, a bit of romance in it, as well as a haunted house. This is definitely highly recommend picking this up for this spooky season. Now the next book, and this one I'm currently in the middle of reading, but this one should be of no surprise to any because of how popular it was a few years back. But The Ex-Hex. Now I'm late to the game in reading this. I tried reading it a few years ago, but I just wasn't super into it. And I picked it back up just last night, and I am flying through it. The Ex-Hex, it opens with one of the best lines I think a book has opened with, which is "Never mix vodka and witchcraft," which I just love. That draws me in. And it's about this woman and man who had a short fling back when they were late teenagers, 19, 20, and they have a short fling about 3 months, and it ends because the man is betrothed to another witch. And so they break things off, and she and her friend put a curse on him. And years later, I think it's 9 years later, they cross paths again. It's about them trying to work through this curse, and some crazy things start happening in the town, which I haven't got to quite yet, but apparently things such as murderous wind-up toys, an outraged ghost, and unsurprisingly talkative cats show up in the town and start causing mayhem, and it's up to them to save the town. It's really cute. Their dynamic is really fun to read so far, of how far I've gotten into it. He's very much cocky, sarcastic, and just kind of oh yeah, I'm the shit. And the Vivian is very much really? She's gonna whip him into shape for sure. She has the sarcasm to match his, and I'm excited to finish this book. I'm having a really fun time with it. And it's a pretty short read as well, so easy paranormal romance to sneak in October. Now the next one is one I have not read yet, but I'm really interested, and it is Hopelessly Devoted, which has just the cutest cover, and it is about another curse and a town, and old childhood crushes coming together to save this town, and they start falling for each other, and they're not able to touch or be together until this curse is repaid, basically, to the devil. It sounds really cute and just a really fun time. So I'm excited to get into this one when the time comes. The next one I want to talk about for paranormal romances, which I also have not gotten into yet, but it is a new release, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Now this just seems like such a sweet and cozy little witchy paranormal romance. Very like whimsical and heartwarming and just sweet. It seems like pretty low stakes and cozy, and just anytime you get like some sort of either tea house or like motel hotel type of bed and breakfast of sorts, and you got to take care of it, just a cozy time. So I'm excited to get into this one, and this was just recently released by the same author who wrote A Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And so if you liked that book, or if you like cute little cozy fantasy low stake books, I feel like this would probably be a perfect one for you. So I'm excited to get into this one as well. Now, the next book I want to recommend seems maybe a little bit darker than these previous ones mentioned, and that is Someone You Can Build a Nest In. Now, this one seems like the perfect level of like spooky, dark, comedic, but also a good, sweet, like found family romance of sorts. So it's about a shapeshifter who they kind of start falling in love with a monster hunter. This monster hunter is specifically looking for the shapeshifter due to some sort of long withstanding like family curse that the monster hunter is trying to avenge her family for, and is looking for this specific shapeshifter. But they end up kind of falling in love, and we'll kind of, see what happens there. But yeah, this sounds like a really fun time. So the next book is one that I really enjoyed by TJ Klune, which is Wolfsong. Now, this is a 4-book series, but it is like each book is about different characters, and they are all interconnected. Yeah, so Wolfsong is paranormal romance, male-on-male love interest, and about werewolves. This is a really good story about like found family, as TJ Klune I feel like does really well at like found family. But this is a really sweet story. There is some weirdness with like werewolf imprinting, so I will say that like if you felt weird about like Twilight werewolf imprinting, you may also feel weird about Wolfsong in that same respect. But really sweet story, and was really well written and really cute. The next book I have here is also a new release, which is Road Trip with a Vampire. This is about a witch and a vampire who go on a road trip together. They both have their own issues and secrets, and they have to kind of face those. Now, they do, of course, end up falling in love, as a witch and a vampire would, going on a road trip together. It just makes sense. And I think this is going to be a really cute, like romantic comedy of sorts. So I'm really excited to read this one. I have read another book by this author, which is subsequently on this list, which is My Roommate is a Vampire. This book I just finished and I loved. I ate it up. It was a slow burn romance about a woman who's kind of down on her luck, ends up finding a Craigslist post for a $200 room to rent, and she ends up taking the offer because it was just too good to be true. And her roommate is mysterious and sexy, but also like kind of old-timey and just like not with the times. He wears suits all the time that with like top hats, and she's like, who is this guy? But can't help but be charmed by him. She ends up finding out he's a vampire, and he needs her help in order to like assimilate to the modern world. He was asleep for 100 years, has no clue about texting, cars, Instagram, Amazon, and he just needs some help to try to fit in a bit better. And that is how they end up working together to make sure that he looks like a normal human and not a centuries-old vampire. It's really cute. It's really sweet. I highly recommend. Now, the next book on this list is another vampire romance of sorts. It's not 100% a romance, but it is So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. Much like Play Nice, there's a romantic element to the story, but there is a far larger plot outside of the romance. The romance is not the main point of the book, but this is a really good story. It's about a woman who is in a loveless marriage, honestly. She's in a loveless marriage. He's cheated on her multiple times, and she just doesn't want to leave. She enjoys the comfort of just having somebody there and doesn't believe that, honestly, that she deserves any better. And her husband sends her on a birthday trip with her best friend, a weekend getaway, so that he can cheat because he's scummy. And her best friend, they go on a weekend getaway and they meet some strangers and end up partying with the strangers, and kind of just goes downhill from there. Or uphill, depending on how you see it, you know. This is a really good story. Like, the main plot, I feel, is about like friendships and the complexities of friendships, but there is a very sweet romantic element to the story as well, with, you know, a bit of a vampire twist to it. So if you like vampires and if you love seeing women kind of rise through the ashes after being treated poorly for so long, that's a really good one. All right, now the next one, this is a no-duh. This is a no-duh paranormal romance, and that is Twilight. Now, I couldn't not put it on this list of paranormal romances. This is the book that got me into paranormal romances when I was in middle school, so I'd be remiss to not at least give it its honorable mention. Twilight, the whole saga, I don't think I have to explain much further than Twilight. It's a good one. Now, okay, the last one, I'm just tossing it out there because it is one of the original paranormal romances, but that's Dracula. Have I read Dracula? No. Have I seen Dracula the movies? Yes. And it's a fun time. So if you are looking for a different type of vampire romance, maybe one that's older, a lot older, maybe try your hand at Dracula if you haven't already. I have this beautiful edition. It is illustrated. The front is velvet, which is very, very vampy. And it has some very sweet illustrations. I do eventually want to try my hand at reading Dracula. But it's also very intimidating because of the classic. But yeah, it has these beautiful illustrations. And one of the original paranormal romances, okay? I had to make mention of it. Just like I had to make mention of Twilight, right? It's just, you gotta. I think these are really great options to get into a little bit of paranormal romance for this season, and I think it's a good time. Please tell me in the comments, what are some of your favorite paranormal romances? Have you read any so far this year that have become favorites? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much for hanging out with me while we talked about paranormal romances, and I'll see you next time. Bye!